Okay, good afternoon, and welcome to Hollywood. So very exciting. Is she okay?
Okay.
Do you want to introduce her?
Yes.
Well, without a name.
We're going to introduce a very good friend of mine who's going to just remain anonymous. She's actually in prison right now. So, Fran, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's see. Say something.
Hello?
Yeah. Hi.
You guys can hear me? Hi everyone. Okay, so first I want to say thank you to everybody for their input and everything that they're doing for the movement. Thank you, Amy, for your voice and always standing up for us behind bars. It's been tough feeling like I haven't had a voice for so long, so knowing that you're using your voice is very important to me. It also encourages me and gives me the courage to stand up and speak out. My story started when I was a little girl. I was sexually abused and sexually molested from age 2 to 9. I ended up becoming sex trafficked at age 11 years old. I had no voice. The people who were supposed to take care of me, who were responsible for me, for my protection, provision, love, those were the people that were molesting me and abusing me. So I had no one to tell. I would go to school. The janitor would molest me at school. I'd come home. I'd get molested by my foster parents at home. I'd go to the neighborhood to play, and the janitor from school would play in the neighborhood with us kids, and he would molest me when I was outside playing with my friends. So what I learned quickly about my body was not my own as a child. What happened as I got older, I ended up having so many sexual partners because I didn't know that I could say no. I didn't understand that I had a choice, I had a right, that I was valuable, that my body is my own. I didn't understand these things. So I would be in situations with guys and they would try to have sex with me, and I would let it happen because I felt like I had already come here, I'm wearing this. I had been gaslighted so much to the point where I blamed myself. And I thought it was my fault. One night when I committed my crime, I was convicted of aggravated mayhem and torture, and that situation involved a person who had tried to sex traffic me when I was 17. He was there, and I felt like if he saw any weakness in me, he would try it again. I took on very toxic, what they call toxic masculinity. I took on those toxic traits, thinking that if I acted like a man, what I thought a man was aggressive, violent, abusive. If I did those things, then that would keep me safe. And I ended up committing the crime that I did and getting convicted. I experienced the same situation in the county jail with Amy. We were actually there together. One time I was even told to be stripped out in the hallway of the unit with several other women. And they told us to pull down our pants, bend over, spread our vagina, and cough. And one lady said no. This lady stood up to them. She was a white woman who had come from a great background, who had been a detective. And this is my first time seeing a woman say no. Yes, Stephanie. This is my first time seeing a woman say no. She said, no, hell no, I'm not doing that. And I was so astonished at that she said no. And I felt like I wish I could say no. Imagine my background, me always being treated like I was nothing or nobody, saying no. I never had the opportunity to say no, or I never took it. So I opened myself up and I coughed right there, but I was like so empowered by watching her say no. That empowered me and put ideas in my head, and that's when the wheels started turning. When I came to prison, the degrading strip searches continued and things of that nature. But what really shook me was I was sexually assaulted by a male officer. He came in my room while I was naked and told me to turn around and put my hands up. I had just came from the shower. I was screaming and crying, covering my vagina, and I was yelling, stop looking at my vagina, stop looking at my vagina. It traumatized me to the place where I felt like I was 2 years old again. And I balled up and I was just crying and crying. He stood there for 3 minutes. There was no female around, and he was gawking at me. And those 3 minutes felt like an eternity. It's like time stood still and it just wouldn't stop. So after that incident, I filed complaints against him, and I was threatened and retaliated against. I was told that if I didn't drop my PREA complaint, they would make sure I had so many 115s and 128s. Those are institutional write-ups, that I would never be eligible to go home. So, and those are the things that they did to me. But I still didn't shut my mouth. I continued to shout it out. Even I began to wet the bed again. I would sleep with a leash on the door, wrapped around my hand in case the door opened. It would jerk my body, and I would wake up. And I would sleep with a lock because I told myself, officer or not, I am going to defend myself. This is my body. At the end of the day, I never imagined having to protect myself like that. And during incarceration, I thought I'd be safe. Then we get to a situation where they bring the trans male to female population into the female prisons. And that was very scary. Right before they came, an officer made her morning announcement, and she said, the men are coming, you better fight to kill. At that point, I started telling all my friends, we need to make weapons. Mind you, after committing my crime, I never imagined hurting another person, acting out violently. I was shaken from what I found out I could be capable of from a place of pain and impulsivity. So we started sharpening knives. We were very scared. Many things happened when the male inmates came, the male to female inmates came that were inappropriate and also scary. I was in the shower one time, and one of the guys had a mirror on the ceiling to look into other shower stalls. And I don't want to say that I'm just uncomfortable with trans people. I don't want to sound like that, because that's not what it is. The problem is the Senate bill that gave people more rights, those trans people more rights over women. Again, women's rights come secondary to other people, and I just don't like that idea. So I in turn went and I labeled myself as trans, non-binary person. For the simple fact, first of all, it makes a lot of sense to me. I'm not about to let society tell me what makes me woman and what makes me male. Sometimes I feel masculine and sometimes I feel feminine, but every day I want to be myself, and that's my right. So I feel very empowered being able to say I'm non-binary, but the sad part is I only did it for equal protection under the law, and I should have never had to do that.
Did you get any more rights? Did you get access to the same rights? I mean, do you get the same privileges that they do at all?
Okay, so legally, under the letter of the law, I am supposed to. They are not recognizing that, nor are they respecting that, because biologically, they're looking at me for biologically I'm female, and they're looking at me as I didn't come from the men's prison, so they are not giving me those same rights. I'm not able to pick my own roommate. They're threatening me with write-ups. I saw a trans male to female person come and was there 6 weeks, and their whole room was painted. I took pictures of it. Their whole room was painted, and I had been in a cell where the wall was decrepit and molding, and mushrooms were coming out and mites, and I had put in many complaints, and it was black mold, but they didn't fix the wall in my cell. They treat women like we are second-class people and second-class citizens in society, and they always have, and I don't like it. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.